And that's welcome. So
I appreciate you inviting me on for a conversation.
thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this one.
We're a British company based in London.
Amazing. What a beautiful platform you have.
We've actually
I hope
paid for some wonderful design we can afford. We got an investor earlier this year. And we spent that money on redesigning the way we look.
amazing. So you invested in UX and in UI?
Yes,
Amazing. This is my background. It's going to make a big difference.
I think so too.
You're transforming dog-friendly hospitality into something emotionally intelligent, I think. And this is going to come up also in the design and human-centered. And it's not just about allowing pets, it's about inclusion and connection to me. That's why I wanted to connect today.
I agree.
We will start with your personal journey. Can you please share what inspired you to create RochDog?
Frustration, Nicolina. I was frustrated. For the last 15 years, I've worked from home, which means, Monday to Sunday, you're trapped within the confines of the walls of your house, unless you escape. And my thing for a long time was escaping with my girlfriend and dog, checking into a hotel just to escape being at home for a short period of time. It stopped me from getting cabin fever. And I did this religiously. I squandered an enormous portion of my income on staying at nice hotels with my dog. It was my thing. It was what I like to do, and we did this for 15 years over the last couple of decades. And before that, my father was a property developer. He used to build hotels all around the world. So as a boy, I stayed in lots of hotels with my family and dogs. And ever since I can remember, we've had arguments with hotels about having the dog there, because they've got some kind of restrictions or they're not really pet friendly. They're dog tolerant. We kept running into issues, with hotels and really struggled to find a hotel that genuinely welcomed your dog as a member of your family, extending its hospitality to your whole family. That just didn't really happen unless you found a rare gem of a hotel. They're out there. They really are naturally occurring, dog-friendly oases of genuine canine hospitality. But that's not the industry norm. If you travel a lot with your dog, you frequently bang into the pet-friendly problem, which is book a hotel based on the idea it's pet-friendly. Get there with your dog. All of a sudden, you're being taxed. Cleaning fees, quite, in often cases, extortionate cleaning fees, while being given nothing in return, not even a food and water bowl, no treats behind reception. Your dog isn't allowed to stay in the room on its own, but you can't use the bar and restaurant with your dog. So you're forced out of the hotel, right? You can't eat and drink and enjoy the hotel because you can't do it with your dog. So you're like a second-class citizen as a dog owner. And I get banging into this again and again at some amazing 5-star hotels. It's 5-star across the board unless you turn up with a dog. And then you're a second-class citizen. And it just results in a poor guest experience. You end up having a bad time. Maybe you have a meeting and you have to leave your dog for a couple of hours in the room, but you can't. Things like that. It just really inconveniences you during your trip. So that's why I founded Roch. I understood pet friendly was a lie. The words don't mean anything. Most hotels don't let cats in. They're talking about dogs. And usually when a hotel calls itself pet friendly, they're not dog friendly in the sense that they'll extend their hospitality to you and your dog while you stay. That's why I founded Roch. It was out of frustration. I knew what had to be done. Somebody needed to rank hotels, probably review them, so dog owners know where to stay and where to avoid, so they can avoid having a bad time when they travel with their dog. It really is minefield out there, and you never know until you check in with your dog what it's going to be like.
A very, of course, personal experience, right? The biggest realization, I think. And what's the bigger mission behind RochDog? Are you aiming to shift industry standards, guest expectations, or the emotional definition of luxury itself?
I think that's a longer term challenge. Right now, we're trying to build the world's largest data set of pet friendly hotels anywhere. And that's granular, accurate data on individual hotels in 30 plus countries. We're well on our way to doing that. We've certified around 3,000 hotels now. We have something like, I think it's 380,000 to go of the pet friendly hotels globally. So we're off to a strong start. But first of all, before we try and change an industry, it's really important to take a snapshot of its current state. We help lots of hotels improve their dog friendly position. And that begins by taking a snapshot of their current state. So that's what we're doing right now. We're certifying hundreds of hotels a week, and we're gathering that enormous amount of data so we can do some really interesting things with it, like rank hotels. If I give you an A, I'm not giving you an A rank. We've cluster benchmarked you. You share similar characteristics with hotels in the A rank. Does that make sense? We can use data to fairly and accurately rank hotels. So it gives dog owners a quick, A+ to F. They know where to stay and where to avoid. They can very easily find the best places to stay, and gives them granular, accurate information. What dog owners really need when they travel and when they plan trips is to know what to expect when they arrive, to know if a hotel has size limits. I've often turned up to hotels and a room I've booked and paid and reserved, and turns out they have a size limit. My small Labrador is inexplicably too big. I don't get a room now, and it wasn't mentioned anywhere. That happens more than happening to me. But if you gather that information and cleanly present it to dog owners, they really appreciate it, because then they can make the right decisions for them and their dog, and that's what we're trying to do, provide clarity into the hotel industry from a dog-friendly perspective and help dog owners find best hotels that best suit their needs. That's all we're really trying to do.
Of course.
Naturally,
And
that's
I
going to
think
change the industry over time. We often rank
it will.
hotels and they realize, oh no, we've been scrutinized all of a sudden across these metrics. And they kind of scramble to change those metrics, to improve those metrics. Nobody before has questioned their dog-friendly credentials. Like, I go to some wonderful hotels as part and parcel of my job and for fun, in my personal life. Been to some hotels that are 5-star, genuinely. They've got 5 diamonds from AAA, and they've got 5 stars from Forbes. But you get there and, I'm being charged $300 to stay with my dog, and they don't give me a food and water bowl. Dog's not allowed in the bar. Dog can't stay in the room. No dog walking services. We call it the 5-star lie because it truly is. And these hotels are like that. Because no one's ever asked them before, what their position to guests with dogs is. They have never been challenged, or, these Forbes and AAA reviewers might ask them hundreds of questions, but they just tick a box, pet friendly, and leave it at that usually. So we fill that gap in the certification market. We gather the data they miss, and we inform dog owners in a way they don't. That's our real core mission.
Of course. And what kind of emotional reactions or stories have you seen from guests when a property truly welcomes them and their pets as family?
In pure business terms, they go back 78% of the time. The loyalty rates and repeat rates of dog owners returning to hotels they found that are good, that treat them well, they go back again and again and again, which is common sense. But we call it loyalty through relief, because more often than not, they're just so relieved to find a hotel they can relax in and enjoy with their dog. They've experienced such a bad time in so many pet-friendly hotels. When they do find a good one, they show them real loyalty. They go back again and again. And, dog owners quite naturally know loyalty. Dogs do too.
So, of
You
course.
go where you're looked after, of course. It's a wonderful, it drives repeat rates and loyalty well above the industry average. It's a wonderful metric.
And truly, the reviews that they will be getting, they are very, very honest and in-depth, I think.
Yeah.
Many hoteliers, though, still see pet inclusion as operationally complex sometimes. What have you observed that separates those who get it right from those who just tick the box?
The world's best dog-friendly hotels understand that there's serious money in being dog-friendly. So being dog-friendly, it doesn't just create positive guest sentiment. It generates substantial, measurable revenue increases. Depending on the hotel, I've seen it range anywhere from $700,000 a year to $4 million per hotel annually. Hotels are generating an enormous amount of revenue by being dog-friendly. That's why they are. They're not doing it because they love dogs. I mean, in most cases, they genuinely do love dogs. You have to in order to be truly dog-friendly. But they're doing it because dog-owning travelers stay 22% longer. They spend 30 more on amenities and food and beverage and retail, and they convert to repeat guests at rates exceeding 70%. It's really is a wonderful phenomenon for those hotels that get it. And that's why they tend to double down on it. These patterns, these dog owners create compounding revenue advantages for hotels that extend far past base room rates. They touch food and beverage operations, ancillary services, long-term customer lifetime value. And that's the difference between a hotel ticking a box and a hotel truly embracing dog-friendly. The ones truly embracing dog friendly are making about 28% more in annual incremental revenue. It's nuts. That's why you see such polarization. Hotels that don't get it, charging extortionate rates while giving you nothing in return, not doing themselves any favors at all. They're emerging demographic we see that's taking over the hotel industry, hospitality overall, having a significant impact on it, is DINKWADs, double income, no kids, with a dog. They've got hundreds of billions of dollars in disposable income annually to spend. And they're increasingly making decisions based on, travel planning, based on how they're going to treat their dog when they get there. Is this a really dog-friendly hotel? Because they see their dog as part of their family. So when they go to a hotel, just tick the pet-friendly box. Don't let them in the bar. They gives them a really bad feeling, a negative experience, especially if they're taxed a cleaning fee, quite a steep one for a mess their dog hasn't made, right? It's the emotional experience of visiting a hotel that genuinely practices true canine hospitality and treats your dog as family. That really, really builds an emotional moat for hotels and hotel brands that are dog friendly. I know of a number of brands out there that are establishing competitive moats for reputation and loyalty. And if you think about it over the long term, it's going to be really hard to breach those moats if you're a competitor. It's increasingly difficult for late entrants to overcome and suddenly adopt dog friendly because dog owners for years have known to go to these hotels. It really is a competitive moat that, you can't really overcome if you're an F ranking hotel to shoot to an A+ hotel without significant time and effort spent on that journey. So it's a strategic business competitive edge. And it's one of the few
It is.
remaining high return, under leveraged strategic initiatives available in the hotel industry. I know, the research indicates and shows.
Of course, and it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And we're here to support the whole theme because we love it, and we thought that it's great to share with our audience and our micro community. And I think it's something that we can also take it to a different level with some PR that's going to come as a natural transition after our conversation, not a paid service, from an inner circle. Like last week, we had Vogue's editor as a guest. This is a friend of mine. We're discussing wellness beyond spa. I think all the travelers are becoming more conscious, and there is a reason why people will travel and they will visit hotels. And traveling with your pet, with your dog, is a beautiful reason. Traveling to have a healing instead of a massage or just a spa in a hotel. It's a beautiful reason. I think there is a shift in the travelers and the expectations. So everybody has to adjust.
I
That's why we
agree.
created also this podcast to share all this what's happening, as friends.
I've seen the industry, the hotel industry, gazing and falling in love with wellness for a long time now. Been a major trend, but more people have dogs than people who go to spas. And they're a massively, underserviced market segment, screaming for good dog-friendly hotels to stay out, that get them as guests. And I've often wondered why dog owners have been so neglected for so long. Why pet-friendly has been allowed to perpetuate into this festering hospitality sore that it has. Why it's become a major problem. So people like me need to exist. So dog owners can avoid having a bad time when they travel with their dog. I often wonder why the industry navel gazes at wellness but completely ignores dog owners. I don't get it. Maybe because I don't go to spas a lot. Perhaps. I don't know.
It's a great opportunity. I'm very happy that we're having this discussion. Let's talk a little bit about challenges and frustrations. You've been working with both hotels and you are a pet owner or pet owners. What's been the biggest challenge in bridging the gap between guest expectations and hotel readiness?
It's a really good question. I'm not quite sure I'm qualified to answer it though, because remember, I'm not really working with hotels on a granular level to help them improve. I'm gathering data at scale, Nicolina. There's a huge difference there in what we're doing and ranking and working with big data. So I very often don't think about individual hotels much, unless they really get into conversations with them. We do offer consulting services. I guess the biggest challenge is, well, it's not. In the early days, the biggest challenge was getting them to see value in becoming and adopting a dog-friendly position. These days, when you can show them real academic research that, shows that successfully managed dog-friendly hotels contribute 5 to 8% of total revenue, something like 25, 30% of overall profit. When you show a hotel those numbers, then they get it. It's no longer a huge challenge for me. I take a much less emotional approach to engaging with dog-friendly hotels these days. I have hotels say to me, "We're not dog-friendly," and I'm like, "Okay, that's great. Here's some research that shows you just make a lot more money if you are." And I give it to them. I tend not to argue with them so much anymore. Not really a challenge for me. Somebody smart at that hotel reads the research, looks at the numbers, does the math. They get it. They get it. And then they start to engage more positively and start to ask great questions. How can we make money from dog owners? And we work through wonderful. I collect dog food menus from hotels, from across the spectrum. And I know of hotels making an absolute fortune selling dog owners $50 dog meals. Wonderful dog menus. If you took the dog and the paw prints off the menu and gave it to me in a restaurant, I'd probably order from it and eat from it. Right? That good. And it's helping hotels understand how to treat dog owners as a real revenue and profit center, and in the process, show them a genuine, sincere, hospitality welcome, rather than treating them as an inconvenience and center of problems, that it's dealing with an outdated way of thinking.
Of
Many
course.
hotels, depending on where you are in the world, just look at things in a really old-fashioned way. It's culture in many countries too, you know. But like I say, you show them the numbers and that just goes away. New managers get it straight away. GMs get it straight away. Marketing directors get it straight away. They just get the numbers. They see the extra money and they understand, and they tend to embrace it. It's become because like anything in hotels, you don't open a wellness spa and your profit center, right? You don't do it unless you think it's going to be. There's a reason the hotel industry is navel gazing at wellness for so long because there's money in it. There really is a lot of money in it. So it's not so much a challenge for us anymore, convincing hotels to do it. It's either a business decision they make or they do not. If they choose not to, we don't really spend much time with them.
Of course. Are there specific countries? I have something in my mind probably. Which countries do embrace like more your services? Is this the USA? Is this because you mentioned culture earlier? Which are the countries that they are your top three countries?
Our naturally out of the gate core focus with the Anglo-speaking market. So we tend to focus our certification efforts on the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and that core market. Later on next year, we're planning to adopt 20 more languages, in which case we'll certify 20 languages and expand our scope into more countries. But I can tell you, anecdotally, most dog-friendly country in the world is the United Kingdom. Cool.
Mhm.
Millennia long love affair with dogs. First kennel club, first kind of dog shows. We've just been in love with the dog forever. Changed the laws to, make us more dog friendly and protect dogs' rights. A high ranking A plus, A flat grade hotels exist in the UK per capita than any other country. America's second, and then Italy's third. I think Italy's tremendously dog friendly in the sense you can take your dog anywhere. Basically. No one bats an eyelid. Naturally occurring dog friendliness is something that tends to happen in specific countries for cultural, historical reasons. You know? Without going way back into each individual country's history, generally the Anglo-speaking world, that's dog friendlier than most. But Italy, as well. Spain isn't particularly dog friendly. Interestingly, if you go into the Slavic countries, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, they're incredibly dog friendly. Again, you can walk into a bar or restaurant with your dog and it's never a problem in many places you go to. So some countries culturally lend themselves to be more dog friendly than others, but because we've certified so many hotels in our core market, our core launch market, I tend to see all the A and A plus ranking hotels in the UK, the US,
Amazing.
the bulk of our certifications have come from those.
Amazing. So you just mentioned earlier that pretty much when you share the data, the research findings with hoteliers, and because it's numbers always say the truth. They can never lie. And anyone that is behind the hotel loves numbers. We all know that. Um, but there are some people that they might resist a bit. If you had a magic wand to fix one thing holding hoteliers back from fully embracing pet inclusive hospitality, what would that be?
I tell them the dog-friendly hotel sector is growing at 12, 13% annually, significantly outpacing the broader industry. If you can't see the writing on the wall, I can't help you. I really can't. Dog owners don't just book rooms, they spend more during their stays. Yes, traveling with pets, spend more during their stays. If they can't see the black and white reality of the business case, they must not like dogs, which is fine, by the way. I don't expect 100% of hotels. Something like 65, 70% of hotels are dog friendly, depending on what country you go to. It shrinks in some countries. 70% roughly in the UK and the US, which is a lot. But some hotels just don't want to be dog friendly, and that's fine. It's not my job to convince them. It really isn't. I'm sorry, it's not. Just quietly mark them out and instruct dog owners not to go there. There's no problem as far as I'm concerned.
Of course. What about the future? Would you like to share something for the company? You mentioned you're about to launch your new website, and we will align. When this is going to happen, we would like to promote this episode the same time. So when you get exposure from us, that's going to be, people will be landing in the new website. You mentioned you are about to have 40 different countries. Is this correct?
20 next year. The framework for internationalization or localization is built. It's just an awful lot of translation work that needs to be done accurately. Not just our reviews, but the questions we ask hotels. Remember, a lot of what we do is automated. So we have what are called CALI agents, in-line lodging inspection agents. My dog's called Callie. That's why they're called that. And what these CALI agents do is they go out into the world and call and email hotels and ask them up to 55 questions, constantly, nonstop, all day, every day. We do that in English right now. When I say we're going to expand to 20 languages, suddenly we'll be contacting hotels in 20 languages. And that's when we begin to gather much more granular data from countries we might not have, gathered data from until recently. It won't just be the reviews that change language. It'll be the way we interact with the hotel industry on a wider scale globally. Everyone speaks English. So to really gather that data from, for argument's sake, I don't know, random place, Cambodian hotels, for example, depending on where you call in the world, you need to speak in their own language. I'm not even sure if I'm answering your question properly, but yes, we'll be going multilingual. Middle of next year.
And you're using AI for these agents are so physical
AI agents.
Existing
They're
like
AI agents.
AI agent.
They're an email address or a phone number and a name. And if you look at them, you'll find a company website and those people exist. They don't. That's all manufactured, that background for these CALI agents. So when they email a hotel and say, hey, I'm thinking about coming in staying at your hotel for 2 weeks, but I have a dog. I'd like to know a few things, please. I'd like to know, first of all, can dogs come in the bar? Do you charge any fees? Do you have any weight restrictions? Over the course of sometimes some hotels don't know the answer when you call, you have to keep calling back, or you have to email them multiple times, speak to multiple. Some hotels just don't have it together. They don't know. They can't tell you what to expect when you get there. And that's what the CALI agents do. Different people will call the hotel at different times until we've built the complete data set from that hotel, until we've built what we think is an accurate picture with the receipts. And that's the extent we use AI. We use AI to write the initial reviews, but they're all human edited. Everything is checked by a human against the core data before it's published, so we can ensure accuracy. It has to be. We initially did it with AI, but I think we got accuracy around the 85% mark, and it just wasn't good enough. If I publish 1,000 reviews, it's not good enough that only 850 of those are accurate. And there's a small accuracy in the remaining, number of them. That was never good enough for me. So we human check and validate every single review against the original data, which is the answers coming back from the hotel. So we're gathering real data from hotels, using what they tell us to generate the reviews, and then they're checked. It's the only way you can certify hundreds of hotels a week. It's without having a substantial team. There's humans involved in that process at every step, validating and checking. But it's how we plan to scale. I mean, I mentioned earlier, we've certified shy of 3,000 hotels so far. We'll be jumping up to around 10 or 15,000 hotels throughout the course of 2026. And as we bring on more languages, expanding that reach to include hundreds of thousands of certified hotels globally in 50 plus countries and reviewing them in 50 plus languages. You can't do that without AI these days, or enormous budget, huge teams of people, working for months to translate all this content perfectly, validate it, check it. Now it's just much easier to do all of this work with AI and really rigorous human editors. Humans always have to be present as part of this process and validating that the reviews we publish closely match the reality of what the hotels told us about, their dog-friendly services.
And there's always the human touch in everything. And we think I personally believe that above AI, I call it HATI, which is human intelligence, which is going to be always higher than the machines. We call them machines, the
Well, just
computers,
to be
but
clear, we do, if you're a customer of ours, if you subscribe to our standard, and many hotels do, we human write your review. It's not AI written. The only AI written reviews are for the hundreds of hotels we certify that don't become a subscriber to our standard, our dog-friendly standard. Really what my company does, we're in the business of connecting high-value dog owners, affluent, high-value dog owners with the world's best dog-friendly hotels. We generate commission-free direct bookings for them. And that really is our business, connecting high-value dog owners with the world's best dog-friendly hotels. So there's an awful lot of AI written review based on the core data, but our customers, when we choose to present your hotel properly, we human write your review. AI doesn't do that. I do that most of the time. I've written every single one of our customers' reviews, and I write beautifully.
of course. And I assume you do all your marketing, you do it in-house? You have your own marketing team?
Well, here's a curious thing. We don't really do any marketing, right? It's a weird thing. My customers tend to fall out of the sky and come to me, or we certified them, let them know how they've done, and they tend to work with them that way. If you think about the proactive nature of our certification approach, we're proactively going out into the wild, proactively contacting your hotel, asking you for 50 things, and then taking that data and comparing you against thousands of hotels to produce a fair rank. And we produce a review and whole bunch of we started giving 2-page PDFs with here's how you can improve your rank and to help them improve. We have consultancy partners who will come to their hotel and consult and help them. But if you think about that, I lost the thread on the question you asked me. But if you think about what we're doing, it generates what we call macro engagement, right? So regardless of our marketing efforts, my customers constantly complain, you're not on Instagram. We are, which I just don't use it. I don't get Instagram. All the hotel guests and the hotel customers are on Instagram. So they constantly ask me to be. Something we'll start doing next year. I just haven't bothered, right? We're still a startup. Just don't care about Instagram. I should. It's wrong. It's bad thinking. Just don't care. We'll pick that up next year. But hotels sure as hell know who we are and what we're doing because they've been contacted by us in a proactive way. And even if I don't speak to them as an individual, the AI agent will gather the data, the review will be written, and another agent from my company will contact them and say, hey, here's your rank, here's your review. Let us know if you'd like to talk about it. It's happening hundreds of times a week, increasing countries. Macro engagement about us and our activities spreading throughout the industry. The more
Of
research we
course.
publish, like you can argue the research we publish is our marketing, not because it's real data we've gathered and real research conducted around that data. We have the world's largest data set of pet-friendly hotels. It's real serious research. We publish this on brands. I recently published one on the Intercontinental Hotel Group, all of their hotels across the group, how they rank, how they differ, and where, serious research. These get downloaded hundreds of times the day we publish them, thousands of times over the subsequent month and a half. And all of it builds macro engagement. We're not doing marketing in the traditional sense. I mean, we do have a dog video and cute videos out there, but we're not yet marketing to dog owners, if that makes sense. Our
To
website
B2C.
traffic, is doubled over the last 12 months. And that's coming from dog owners. And the reason being content is king. We're the only people publishing really granular, accurate reviews and properly ranking hotels. Doesn't matter if you're a customer or not. If you're an A+, you're there. You can't buy a better rank from us. And it's accurate, granular information that dog owners are finding increasingly valuable to book and plan their trips with. So our website traffic is organically going up and doubling year on year. Not done any marketing yet, but we've just raised a little bit more investment. We'll be doing more marketing next year, and hopefully that'll compound on the foundation we've built. But none of it is what
Of
I
course.
think is traditional marketing. Never marketed to hotels or dog owners. Most of our growth is organic, good, honest, because we're doing good things. We're doing good things. We're attracting attention, gathering good data, producing beautiful reviews of hotels that nobody knew they were dog friendly. I mean, dog owners get frustrated because they can't punch through the pet friendly noise to find the best hotels. And hotels have the same problem. Doesn't matter how dog friendly you are. Doesn't matter you've got an A+ rank if nobody knows about it. And you're surrounded by a sea of pet friendly in your city, all of them publishing pet friendly marketing. No one knows. You can't pierce that veil, right? Unless I come along and rank you and rank everyone in the city and say, yeah, and we do that. We do that. We're getting to the point where major cities or major We're just ranking everyone. We've got the data. I tell you, you're the best in London. You really are, right? It's the data proves that, not just my opinion. And that's just real. That has value. That has
Of
real
course.
engaging value to dog owners because they've never seen it before. Never seen such transparency around pet friendly before. They love it. And we just
Of
get the most
course. Of
tremendous
course.
feedback from dog owners. It's wonderful. So, we'll be marketing more next year on, channels like Instagram and
Oh,
dog
amazing.
owners.
There's a great opportunity for both sides, like of the business B2B with the hotels and B2C with the dog owners. I think there are great opportunities there. I can tell that you're super smart. First of all, it's true, and it's not a compliment because the approach. I come from UX research myself, and I understand data really well. This approach is genius and I haven't seen that into a smaller size, medium size of business done perfectly as you're doing it. Usually these are practices that we see in corporate environments, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy for what we explored
Well, thank you
today.
so much. Thank you so much.